Joining us now with more is CBS News senior political editor Steve Shigaris, excuse me. He's in our Washington bureau now with more. Steve, good morning.
Good morning.
So what do you think happened with Rick Perry?
Well, very little went right, I can tell you that. He tried to reset after his disastrous 2012 run. He never got any traction in the polls, couldn't raise any money, and like most of the other 16 Republicans, he was drowned out by the Trump boom. And so, you know, the GOP right now is looking for an outsider to shake things up, and based on the polls, Perry just wasn't the guy.
Steve, the second GOP debate is on tap next week. It seems that the same problem lingers, or lurks, I should say, for all the Republican candidates. How do you deal with Donald Trump? Do you think that strategies are changing here at this point?
I think you're going to, well, first of all, Trump's harshest critics won't be there. People like Perry and Lindsey Graham and Bobby Jindal. So this isn't going to turn into some insult fest, I don't think. The biggest target for Trump will be Bush, and that's, I think Bush will wind up promoting his conservative record. He'll likely remind people about Trump's pro-Democrat past. But for the others, people like Carly Fiorina, who are going to be on this stage for the first time, and others who are down in the polls, they're going to emphasize their strengths, I think. They're going to be looking for that breakout moment. There's 11 people on stage, so there aren't a lot of opportunities to really break out here. So you'll see them just look for that one moment.
Steve, while we were talking, we were putting up the latest poll numbers, and you can see Ben Carson. He's had a surge in recent weeks. What do you think is behind? Well, what are voters connecting with when it comes to this candidate?
Well, in a lot of ways, it's similar to Trump. I mean, Republicans right now are drawn to this outsider, anti-establishment candidate. And so even though they have two completely different styles, Carson is much more soft-spoken. This Trump-Carson boom really has people like Bush, Walker, Rubio, and others wondering and hoping whether history will repeat itself and whether Republicans will return back to focusing on the establishment choices. But it's really all about outsider candidates right now.
On the Democratic side, you have kind of a similar scenario, it seems, Steve. You've got Bernie Sanders surging and Hillary Clinton's numbers sinking. Is this about the emails, do you think, or is there something more here?
There's definitely something more. I think you're seeing consistently in the polls that the Sanders surge is really about Sanders. There's a slice of Democrats who love what he's saying about liberal issues, things like income inequality, Wall Street reform, campaign finance reform. And it's not like Democrats really dislike Hillary. She still has high approval numbers, but liberals have finally found an alternative they're passionate about, and you're seeing that in these polls.
What do you think is happening with Joe Biden right now? Because after everyone saw him on the Colbert Show, it was really hard to not connect with what he's going through personally. But do you think he might actually run?
Well, we're watching a guy figure this out publicly, and it's really, really interesting to see. I mean, Biden supporters are telling me he's concluded that he's the right person politically to do this. But as Biden has said twice, he's just not there emotionally after the death of his son, and the emotion is so raw. We're watching him publicly grieve. And so the question is, can he overcome this in the next few weeks? The first debate is October 13th. He will likely want to be there if he's going to run. All
right, Steve Shigaris in Washington this morning. Steve, thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks.
There'll be plenty more on the campaign tomorrow morning on Face the Nation here on CBS. John Dickerson's guest will include Republican candidates Donald Trump and Ben Carson.